there were basically two larger steps in our study. And first of all, we used satellite data of the past 21 years in Europe. And this data tells us about the forest greenness. And then we tried to find events where forest greenness was reduced, so browner than usual forest, over a really large scale. So we were looking for events that not only affect a single tree and not a single forest, but really at the scale of 50 kilometers. So these were our events. And then we analyzed precipitation and temperature over the 3 years leading up to these events. And we call this the meteorological history. So kind of what happened in terms of weather before these browning events. And then we compared this meteorological history to the climatology. So what happens in normal years when there is not necessarily such an event. So the result is that, first of all, we found such signals. So we found such meteorological precursors of these events. And they are different between forests in Central Europe and in the Mediterranean. So we looked at these events separately because the tree species and so on are very different in these regions. And in Central Europe, which of course also includes Poland, there were 2 consecutive summers with hot and dry conditions. So it's not only the summer of the browning event that's super hot and dry, but also the previous summer. And in the Mediterranean, this was different. So we only see that the current summer of the event had these hot and dry anomalies, but not the previous one. And what was further interesting to us is that not only the intensity of heat and drought was exceptional, but also the persistence. So the time over the past years when rain was lacking was unusually frequent. And this was the case for 2 years in Central Europe and for even 3 years in the Mediterranean. So if you want to understand why forests turn brown today, we have to look at the weather over several seasons into the past. And of course, also in the other direction, if we want to kind of protect the forests tomorrow, we have to think about or look at the weather already today. And regarding these browning events, we found the most extensive, so the most widespread event in Central Europe in the last year, so in 2022, which was super, super warm. And in general, in Central Europe, since 2018, these events occurred again and again. So Poland was affected in 2019, and then again also last summer by these browning events.